What is up, world? It's your boy Ton, and you are listening to the Wonton Wealth Podcast. Here, I'm going to unravel anything and everything commercial real estate related. And more importantly, we're going to add abundant value. So if you're ready, buckle up your eardrums. Welcome back, everybody. So this is going to be the part 2 of my conversation with Alvaro, going over retail as an asset class. So in the beginning, it was more of a general overview, and this one here is essentially going through a live deal. Enjoy. Do you want to go over that deal?
Maybe a quick one. I'm just also mindful of your time, man.
No, I'm good. I got time. So if you're available, we can do it right now. Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Okay. So Central Austin Strip Center investment opportunity. Let's search Google. So quick Google search, right? If you want to do a lot more digging, you can. But once again, I look at it from a 30,000 foot view and then I zoom in. This is your market, so you probably already know the area. I don't. So I see that it's north of Austin. Got University of Texas Austin here. We're in Allendale. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Upper Burnett.
So you got 35 right here and then kind of a loop here. So might be a little bit challenging to get to the highway from here, which is not a bad thing. Look for the main corridors. Where are the larger roofs at? Here's a corridor. Here's one. This one has a little bit smaller. So now we kind of zoom in. What the hell is there? Chicken joint, elementary school, middle school right next to it, HEB, another restaurant. So you see a lot of roofs here, commercial roofs. Got a lot of residential supporting it, which is nice. So let's see. What is it, Allendale? Allendale only has 8,300 residents. What's the job growth here? Let's see. 2.5%. Just a quick search. Household income, 57,000. That's above.
Gonna say this is 2013, at least in the flyer.
Sure.
Closer. Oh, this is average. I know average can be skewed. But yeah, let's say it's in that 60, 70 range.
Sure. Okay. That just gives me a good basis. I mean, once we go into due diligence, we would want to verify all that. I'm just looking for the quick and dirty. So Burnett Road looks like it's 6 lanes, 7 in count in the middle.
No,
Or
I'd say
4.
it's 2 and then 1 which is like a turning lane.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm gonna assume it's somewhere around 30,000 vehicles per day. Could be wrong. Could be right. But just a base guess. So now we're walking the street for the. Have you been to this area?
You're pretty right. I'm looking at their flyer. It says 25,000 traffic volume off Burnett. Yeah, and you mentioned the chicken joint. I've been down the street because of the chicken joint.
Okay. Any good?
It's good.
Okay.
Double 22.
So you got signalized traffic here. A lot more retail down here. HEB. You got your school. Looks decent. It's not in a crime area. So now we walk back to the property, see where it's at.
Yeah, the one that says Mi Casa es tu casa.
Oh, that's the building?
Yeah.
Okay. So ideally, if your building was kind of facing this street here, that would be awesome. Like these buildings, they're facing the street.
Yeah.
People can see them. So this is off White Horse Trail, which is a side street. So and you're kind of tucked behind these buildings here. So not much visibility for the building. There's no signs that tell you anything's there. So that's gonna hurt. So at the school, a lot of shrubbery here. Can't really see it. This is the building, right? Okay. So exterior, you're looking at, we got trash. What's the visibility look like? And, some of these trees are kind of blocking it. You look at the facade. It doesn't look like it's in bad shape. Let's check the roof. Obviously, you can look at GIS models for the roof, right? Yeah. I'm just doing a quick and dirty. See all these HVAC units?
Yeah.
That's a lot of money. They're smaller, but the roof doesn't look like it's in bad shape. Probably some patching here. Metal roof, possibly. Parking lot has some cars in there, which is good. No idea what this is. Probably some industrial. We got air conditioning, fenced off, which is nice. Some vacancy here. Okay. And on the facade, as you can tell, these signs are just like paper signs.
Yeah.
Right? A security camera, maybe. Parking lot doesn't look like it's in bad shape. I don't see potholes. I don't see cracks. So great, decent parking. I don't know if there's anything in the back. There's some parking in the back, looks like. Decent parking. You got room to come in and out. Square building, which is nice. Is this the long and narrow you were talking about?
Yes. Most of these suites, for the most part.
That doesn't look too narrow to me, but I don't know.
Oh yeah, I don't know how narrow is
Like
narrow.
if it was half this size, that's narrow.
Uh,
That's narrow
uh,
shit. This is not too bad.
okay.
This signage though is it's pretty much useless. I mean, who's gonna be able to see that, right? So, what's this? 4.9 stars. Wow. Okay, that's great. Was this a daycare?
It says music school.
Oh, okay.
Their
So
website.
Tech Academy, Austin, they close permanently. So just first look, Alvaro, it's a challenge here because you're not on the main
Yeah, it's
street.
that.
On the side street, no visibility. So I'm not saying the deal doesn't work. I'm saying you're probably not going to get a national tenant in here.
Yeah.
You're probably small mom and pop operators to some extent. So you're probably looking at gross lease or modified gross, depending on how the utilities are structured.
So on that, sorry. So if you go back to there. So it
Yeah,
says 4 of these are occupied on triple net leases. I don't know how accurate this is.
it they
So
could
there's
be.
2 suites that need to be occupied.
Got it.
4 currently.
Okay. So 10 minutes from downtown. I don't know what Domain is, but
Domain's like another big, call it retail space, has a lot of entertainment, restaurants, a
sure.
lot of luxury, high end type stores.
Okay. Reinforced concrete, 5 garages. That's probably in the back somewhere. Okay. Renovate in 95. Develop investment or occupied. Adequate parking. Blah, blah, blah. How many? 13,000 square feet. So this is probably like what? $200 a foot. 3.75. $6 a square foot is what they're selling it for. So the other thing is we would want to know, and this is this is your neck of the woods, so you would want to know what's the typical sell price for a retail building. I mean, we can do a quick. What's this again? Allendale.
Allendale, yeah.
So
I'm
retail.
having issues with my CoStar access. Otherwise, it's, yeah, I
Yeah,
feel like I
this is
pulled that
just
submarket report.
it's quick and dirty, right? So
Okay.
this is not necessarily retail. It's mixed use. If we were diligent, we'd probably expand it out to see what's out there. But I just want to see what this mixed use building is selling for. 1.3, 3,000 square feet. Holy hell. $426 a square foot, right? For a mixed use building. But actually, I mean, it's a funky building, right? Inside looks great. So maybe that's where they're trying to command the $400 a square foot. So on your submarket research, that would be kind of ideal to find out whether or not it's underpriced or overpriced. But based on what I'm seeing, if this is selling for $300 a square foot and the other one's being listed at 420, it might have some legs on it. Now, the other challenge obviously is to figure out what the vacancies look like. Is it white box? Is it turnkey? How much work do you have to put into that? Additionally, obviously you have to find out if it's professionally managed or the owner's kind of DIYing it. So then from there, you have to assess whether or not you yourself can do anything different from the marketing tactics to find a tenant for the space.
Fair.
This doesn't have any numbers on it, right? Do you have like an OM or anything on it?
Check the C flyer here.
So no numbers on it, right? So I honestly, I would reach out to this guy and I'd be like, do you have an OM on this? Do you have any rent rolls? Do you have a trailing 12? Similar things to underwriting in multifamily. Conditions of the roof, the HVAC, the parking lot. When was it last resealed or restriped? Ages of the mechanicals, if they have it. But the biggest thing here is the number. You look at the rent roll to figure out, when these leases are ending, if they have any renewals, or is it funky, whatever. How long have they been there? If they've been there for a long time, good chances they might be staying for a little longer. Are the rents under market, over market, at market? Are they truly triple net leases? But the T12 is going to actually give you numbers so that you can actually do a pro forma on it. So I got quoted 7.5% interest rates not too long ago. I don't know if you can get better than that.
For like a bridge loan to acquire
No,
this thing, and
just a commercial loan.
just commercial loan, assuming
5-year
So you
term,
say,
25-year AM, 25% down, 20% down, somewhere around there. That's the rate that I'm getting.
okay,
So obviously you underwrite that with those whatever debt terms that you can get. You have to plug in all the income, expenses, etc., to find out if it's worth the investment. For roughly $4 million, you got to bring like $1 million to the table. And obviously, when you underwrite, you got to have reserves and all that stuff, and then capex items. So to figure out, so we're looking at it from a qualitative and a quantitative state. So qualitative, we know that it's kind of tucked in the back there. We know that we're not going to attract national tenants. So we would have to figure out how to market that to mom and pop tenants and or list help from brokers. With how small these suites are, it might not be on a broker's radar. They're probably looking at the bigger stuff in order to make their commissions worth it, right? So a lot of times, something like this, you might not even want a broker, depending on your relationship with the broker and how good they are at filling these type of spaces. Then obviously you got to underwrite the commissions in there as a cost, right? But I have no idea what the NOI is, so I have no idea whether or not this works from a quantitative perspective. So if once you get the numbers from the guy, call him, email him, whatever, we can actually do some underwriting to figure out, is it a worthy investment, right? So and I don't look at IRR or anything like that. I know the multifamily guys do. All I look at is cash on cash return. I look at it from an as is perspective, and then I look at it from a value add perspective. So if I buy it day one, am I losing money, or how much money am I making? Or am I breaking even? And then I underwrite in my business plan to it. Okay, if I get it leased up at this rate, what do those numbers look like? What's my cash on cash return there? And that's how I essentially determine my pref for my investors. If, like, for example, I'm looking at a medical office building right now, the cash on cash day one is like 15%. So now I can actually give out a pref anywhere from 8% up to 15 if I want to. And then the upside on the back end is it'll probably scoot closer to 30% cash on cash with, I don't know, $2.5 million on the back end.
Yeah, the good thing is half of that is coming from cash or the yield today instead of it all being like, hey, we're hoping to sell this for a lot more in the future.
Right. Yeah. So that's the newest deal that I'm working on, but that's kind of how I look at retail. And obviously with medical office buildings, industrial stuff, you have other nuances. Medical office, how many practitioners are in the area? What practices are out there? Ophthalmology, endocrinology, whatever, dentists, and do the spaces fit for those types of practices? And then industrial, once again, you kind of just step in the shoes of a tenant. How tall are the ceilings? Can I fit my equipment in there? How's my space look? Can it store stuff? Can I get trucks in and out pretty easily? And what's the power capacity? Things like that, right? Accessibility, proximity to the highway is pretty important. If you had a landscaping company, you'd want to be close to the highway to get to your customers, right? You wouldn't want to be tucked back, drive 20 minutes in back roads in order to get to the highway.
Make sure for stuff. I think location-wise, that was the only thing that when I looked at this at first glance, I was like, oh, it's tucked in on a bit of a side street. So it wouldn't, hopefully the tenants there wouldn't rely on vehicle traffic to see a sign to generate business. This is more like, at least mi casa es tu casa. It looks like it's a music school for like, I don't know, babies, toddlers, like younger children. So it's probably someone looking, okay, I want to find a music school for my kid. This is where they just happen to have their location. Not that I'm driving and I'm like, oh, look, they have a baby school for music. I'm going to go enroll my child.
Right. Yeah. All these factors are things that you have to consider as a tenant or as an owner, really. And once again, every property is different. If you were looking at a property that was like right down the street from that was on the main strip, that's a game changer.
I mean, there's one, and I have to just reach out to the owner. I went to a dentist down the street from where I live in my neighborhood. It's Picture this: it's a dentist, like a dental office, in a strip mall where, let's say, one big tenant is a furniture store, and the other are payday loan type businesses. And the guy was like, yeah, man. So when I got this lease, I got such a great deal. Like, look at the businesses next to me. And I plan to stay here long term. And the main, or like the biggest space just went vacant. I drive by there every day. And I'm like, oh, this could be an opportunity. But in talking to the dentist, he's like, look, I know tons of dentists, like their biggest problem is finding space
Mm-hmm.
to do their business. I was
Yeah.
like, my eyes lit up while he's like cleaning my mouth. And I'm like, huh, how did you find this space? Oh, well, I met another dentist that was retiring and he's willing to give this up. And
Yep.
I took over and, that's how I ended up here. I was like, I did not want to come here because I thought that the location seemed a bit off, man. I was like, I'm not looking to get a payday loan. I'm not looking to buy furniture. He's like, yeah, but that's why I got a good deal.
Right. Right. Yeah.
That's another. This one's more on it's off a main street that's more heavily trafficked. And I want to say the household income in that area, just looking at the neighborhood I live in, probably a lot higher. But like I come across these properties where I'm like, okay, should I be looking at this a little bit more closely? And I just want to, like you mentioned, potentially working together, like like I drive by it. You don't really know it unless you're in the area. And I look at it and I'm like, there could be some opportunity here. Like
Yeah.
this whole area is gentrifying and there could be a new tenant that comes in and is willing to pay more now because today this area looks very different from what it was like 5, 10 years ago when they probably originally tenanted the building with its current mix.
Yeah. 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 There's always, if you look at it from the lens of like, what are the opportunities here? You tend to start
Yeah.
digging a little bit deeper and trying to figure out and getting creative to see if something could work. So I never close a deal down until I figure out, that in reality I can't do what I plan to do.
Yeah.
So got to keep your eyes open and your options open.
Yeah. All right. No, man, thank you so much. This was helpful. I have an email drafted, and I was gonna call the guy after I sent the email, but like I need what
Perfect.
you described is I need the numbers, and with those questions around the major components, see
Yeah.
what he comes back with. But if I see that the four tenants, let's say two of them have been there for at least 5 years, that would be a good sign. And then yes, figure out like who has been there in the past. Maybe tough to get this, like the motivation for the owner wanting to sell, and see if they're actually managing the property.
100%. Yeah.
But yeah, thanks again. I will get the information and get back to you soon. Even if not this deal, another deal to take a look at together.
Yeah. Good deal, brother. It was great talking to you again.
Yeah, likewise, Tom. Yeah, that's all I have for you.
All
I
right.
can stay talking to you for hours.
Cool. Well, I'll catch you next time, brother.
All right, take care, man.
Yep. And that's a wrap. If you've made it this far, that means you've listened to the entire episode, so thank you. I hope you enjoyed it, and if you did, please leave a review on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you're listening from. And if you've learned something or found it useful, share it with one of your homies. And if you want to get in touch with me, I'm pretty active on IG. My handle is pro_TANH. Reach out, let me know what you liked, what you didn't like, or what you want to hear about in the future. I'm here to tailor this to you. Until next time.